Marshal, according to Etymology Online, is derived from the word marshalen from the mid-15th century. And it says it is to tend horses, also to arrange, place in order, arrange soldiers for fighting, from marshal, and lends itself to the words marshaled and marshalling. Now, maren is Dutch for to announce or to make known, while according to Wikipedia, German schall means sound. However, if we will go and look up marshal in Wikipedia, we will get a description that says, quote, "Marshal is a term used in several official titles in various branches of society. As marshals became trusted members of the courts of medieval Europe, the title grew in reputation. During the last few centuries, it has been used for elevated offices, such as in military rank and civilian law enforcement. In most countries, the rank of marshal is the highest army rank." Of course, this description is called mystification, obfuscation, or just plain propaganda, because as we learn from the words, marshal means to call out or call forth the forces. Now, the old marshals of France, as a military rank and also a job title for calling forth the forces of France, they carried batons. Now, the batons that they might carry today are mostly ceremonial, but they're very indicative of the role of a marshal. Of course, another job or position which carries batons is called the constable, and better explains the position that a village or lower level type of marshal might take, where they use the baton for practical use in keeping the peace, versus the ceremonial baton, which is a denotion of rank. Of course, both batons could be considered as denoting rank, because a constable carrying the baton it's very clear what it's used for. Now, in the Levantine Adventure, The Travels and Missions of the Chevalier d'Arvaux, 1653 to 1697, by Warren H. Lewis, we get an idea of a position that was similar to the current modern day police officer. On page 65, it states, quote, "Turks, but nevertheless they enjoyed a uniquely privileged station or status. To strike a janissary under whatever provocation was a capital crime. On the other hand, a janissary could maltreat anyone with impunity, and it was for this reason that the government always provided a janissary as escort for an infidel ambassador in the streets of Constantinople." Of course, that sounds a lot like modern day police forces, which provide escorts for any number of corporate dignitaries. And in a separate portion it says, "I took with me a janissary and a Jew who was the best antiquary in these parts, a tolerably honest man for a Jew. The janissary with his cane in his hand could keep 1,000 of the canaille respectful. True enough, one cannot prevent them from shouting insults, but when you are tired of it, you slip a few coins into the janissary's hand and he falls upon them, breaking a few arms and heads, and then there is silence." Just like we see with police officers during manifestations of the public, such as protests and the like. In answering the question, where did these marshals go, we must look at the inspiration for the propaganda piece Uncle Sam, and that is Abraham Lincoln, Chief Executive Officer of the U.S. Corporation. Quote, "By the President of the United States, a proclamation. Whereas the laws of the United States have been for some time past, and now are opposed, and at the present and now are opposed, and the execution thereof obstructed in the states of South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Florida, Mississippi, Louisiana, and Texas, by combinations too powerful to be suppressed by the ordinary course of judicial proceedings or by the powers vested in the Marshals by law. Therefore I, Abraham Lincoln, President of the United States, in virtue of the power in me vested by the Constitution and the laws, have thought fit to call forth and hereby do call forth the militia of the several states of the Union. Now, in this passage, we see two things. First, that President Lincoln, acting on behalf of the government corporation, makes an end run around the marshals that are invested by law to call forth the militia, and is taking that responsibility onto himself. And it's because it's vested in him by the corporate constitution and the laws, plural. So that's an interesting twist there, where the marshals are vested by the law, singular, and he is invoking the laws, plural. Very typical of an attorney.